Right now, you have in your wallet or purse a piece of paper that contains one of history's most controversial symbols, a symbol that has sparked countless conspiracy theories, whispered conversations, and late-night internet rabbit holes. Pull out a dollar bill. Look at the back. See that pyramid with the eye floating above it? Used symbols extensively in their teachings about morality, brotherhood, and the pursuit of knowledge. These were men living through the Enlightenment, and Masonic principles aligned perfectly with their vision of a rational, just society. The lodge meetings weren't about world domination. They were about building better communities and better men. The all-seeing eye became one of their most recognizable symbols, yet his imagery perfectly captured Masonic symbolism. Was this coincidence, or were these ideas so embedded in Enlightenment thinking that they naturally emerged in American iconography, representing the grand architect of the universe, their term for the divine creator? Ancient Egypt fascinated 18th century Americans, who saw parallels between their struggle for independence and the biblical Exodus. The pyramid represented permanence and strength, while its unfinished states suggested America's unlimited potential. Unlike the Great Seal itself, which most Americans never see, the dollar bill travels everywhere. It passes through millions of hands, crosses international borders, and serves as America's most widely distributed piece of propaganda. Whether intentional or not, placing the all-seeing eye on currency ensured that this symbol would reach every corner of the globe. The 13 steps of the pyramid corresponded to the 13 original colonies, each one essential to supporting the whole structure. He included the unfinished pyramid topped by the radiant eye. But the path to this decision was anything but straightforward. In 1935, President Franklin D. Roosevelt himself, not a Mason, but fascinated by symbols, ordered the Great Seal to be printed on the $1 bill. He was specifically drawn to the mystical elements of the design. Secretary of Agriculture Henry Wallace, who was studying ancient symbolism and mysticism, convinced Roosevelt that the time had come to reveal America's secret destiny. Wallace believed that America was meant to be a beacon of spiritual enlightenment for the world, and the dollar bill would carry this message globally. He placed the pyramid and eye on the left side, with the more traditional eagle on the right. Roosevelt reportedly said the symbolism represented the spiritual and material aspects of American democracy. The Continental Congress actually rejected 2 previous designs for the Great Seal before accepting the third proposal. The first committee, which included John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, and Thomas Jefferson, proposed a design featuring the children of Israel crossing the Red Sea. The 1930s were a period of global uncertainty, with fascism rising in Europe and economic depression gripping America. Roosevelt saw the symbol as a reminder that divine providence had guided America through previous crises and would do so again. Every dollar bill became a small prayer, a tiny declaration of faith in America's special purpose. The second committee suggested Hercules, choosing between virtue and vice. In Masonic lodges, members would gather under this symbol to discuss philosophy, ethics, and the betterment of society. That's not just random artwork. That's the all-seeing eye of Providence, the ongoing project of perfecting humanity and society to directly influence how the founders viewed America itself. They saw the new nation as humanity's greatest experiment in self-governance. The eye represents the divine guidance that helped the new nation through its struggles for independence. The unfinished pyramid symbolizes America's ongoing growth and potential, with each stone representing a state in the Union. But skeptics point out that the symbolism aligns perfectly with Masonic teachings about building society brick by brick under divine oversight, a living embodiment of Masonic ideals about human potential and divine guidance. And its story is far more fascinating than you might imagine. The all-seeing eye didn't start with the Freemasons, though they certainly adopted it, using it to represent the eye of God, watching over humanity omniscient, omnipresent, and all-knowing. Medieval artisans carved it into cathedral walls, and Renaissance painters incorporated it into religious artwork. The symbol survived the Protestant Reformation, appearing in churches across Europe as a reminder of divine surveillance and protection. This ancient symbol traces back thousands of years to Egyptian hieroglyphs. They chose this symbol to represent divine providence watching over the new nation. They weren't just borrowing random imagery. They were deliberately connecting America to thousands of years of spiritual tradition, where the eye of Horus represented protection, royal power, and good health. But the story goes deeper. In ancient Egypt, the eye was believed to have healing powers and was often painted on tombs to protect the dead in their journey to the afterlife. The Greeks and Romans adopted similar symbolism, using eyes to represent the gods watching over mortals. Early Christians transformed this pagan symbol into something sacred. But here's where it gets interesting. When the Founding Fathers were designing the Great Seal of the United States in 1782. Now, here's where the plot thickens. Many of America's Founding Fathers were indeed Freemasons. George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, and at least 13 other signers of the Declaration of Independence belonged to Masonic lodges. But this wasn't some secret conspiracy. Freemasonry in the 18th century was a respected social institution, much like joining the Rotary Club today. Freemasonry, a fraternal organization that emerged from medieval stonemason guilds. What made Freemasonry appealing to the Founding Fathers wasn't secrecy, was the emphasis on reason, religious tolerance, and moral improvement. Here's a fascinating detail most people do not know. The Masonic concept of the great work when Charles Thomson, Secretary of the Continental Congress, finalized the Great Seal design. The official explanation for the final design, that's particularly intriguing, is that Pierre Eugene du Cimetière, K., the artist who contributed to the final design, wasn't a known Freemason. The pyramid itself tells another story. What makes this even more intriguing is how the symbol was placed on currency. But here's the remarkable part. Roosevelt didn't just randomly decide to put the Great Seal on money. The timing wasn't coincidental either. Think about the genius of this placement. But here's what most people miss: the Latin phrases surrounding the pyramid tell a story that connects to both Masonic philosophy and Christian theology. Annuit coeptis means he has favored our undertakings, referring to divine approval of the American experiment. This phrase comes from Virgil's Aeneid, where the hero Aeneas asked the gods to favor his quest to found a new civilization. The founders were explicitly comparing America to ancient Rome, suggesting that divine providence had chosen them to create a new empire of liberty. Novus Ordo Seclorum translates to New Order of the Ages, suggesting America represents a new chapter in human history. This phrase also comes from Virgil, specifically from a poem about the return of the Golden Age. The founders believed they were ushering in a new era of human enlightenment and freedom. We're naturally drawn to hidden meanings, especially when they involve power and secrecy. Tech companies use similar imagery to represent surveillance and artificial intelligence. Social media platforms track our every move with algorithms that seem almost omniscient. The symbol that once represented divine protection now raises questions about privacy and corporate power. Are we being watched over or simply watched? The dollar bill's symbolism feeds into ancient fears about secret societies controlling world events. But these theories often miss the most remarkable aspect of the story. The symbol is unreally hidden at all. During World War II, resistance fighters in occupied Europe sometimes used the all-seeing eye as a symbol of hope, believing that divine providence would ultimately defeat fascism. From classic Hollywood movies to modern music videos, the all-seeing eye has become shorthand for hidden knowledge and secret power. We've always sought signs that we're not alone, that some higher power is watching over us and guiding our steps. The all-seeing eye on the dollar bill represents this eternal human hope, dressed in the clothing of American exceptionalism and Masonic philosophy. But these interpretations often miss the original message of hope and divine guidance that the founders intended. In the civil rights movement, Some activists saw the symbol as a reminder that God was watching over their struggle for justice. Whether we were paying attention to the values and aspirations that symbol represents, in the end, the all-seeing eye watches over more than just America. It watches over the eternal human quest for truth, justice, and the courage to build something better than what came before, even when human institutions failed them. A symbol that connects ancient Egyptian beliefs, Christian theology, Masonic philosophy, and revolutionary ideals all in one small green rectangle. In a world where we often look for hidden meanings and secret conspiracies, sometimes the most profound truths are hiding in plain sight, waiting for us to simply open our eyes and see. Walk into any American courtroom and you'll see "In God We Trust" displayed prominently. The same divine providence that the founders believed guided America. As founding is still officially acknowledged as the nation's foundation. The all-seeing eye on the dollar bill serves as a constant reminder of this spiritual dimension to American identity. It's been sitting in plain sight for nearly 90 years, waiting for us to understand its message. As American currency spread globally through trade and military presence, the all-seeing eye traveled with it. In countries where American dollars are commonly used, local populations have created their own interpretations of the symbol. Some see it as a sign of American cultural imperialism, while others view it as a universal symbol of hope and divine guidance. In Masonic terms, this represents the completion of the great work, the perfection of human society under divine guidance. The Roman numerals MDCCLXXVI at the pyramid's base mark 1776, the year of independence. The men who once gathered to discuss philosophy and social reform now meet primarily for fellowship and charitable works. The revolutionary ideals that once made Freemasonry attractive to America's founders have been absorbed into mainstream democratic culture. But notice something interesting. The date appears in Roman numerals, not Arabic numbers. This connects America to the classical world. 13 letters in Ionoet Coeptis, 13 letters in E Pluribus Unum on the eagle side. In many traditions, including Freemasonry, 13 represents transformation and rebirth. The 13 original colonies had died to their old identity as British subjects and been reborn as Americans, suggesting that the new nation was the rightful heir to the wisdom of ancient Rome and Greece. The eye radiates golden light, representing divine wisdom and enlightenment. Some see it as evidence of a secret society's influence over American governance. Others view it as a beautiful reminder of the spiritual foundation upon which the nation was built. The truth likely lies somewhere in between the symbol, chosen by men who believed in both divine providence and human potential. The pyramid is rendered in green, the color of growth and renewal. These weren't random aesthetic choices. They were carefully selected to reinforce the symbol's spiritual message. The number 13 appears repeatedly in the design 13 steps on the pyramid. Even the colors carry meaning. Today, this symbol appears on millions of dollar bills handled daily by people worldwide. Yet most never pause to consider its significance. The conspiracy theories surrounding the symbol reveal something fascinating about human psychology. In the digital age, the all-seeing eye has taken on new meanings. Modern Freemasonry still uses the all-seeing eye in their lodges, but the organization has become largely ceremonial. Yet, the symbol's power endures. What most people don't realize is how this symbol has influenced cultures worldwide. The symbol has appeared in unexpected places throughout history. Its artists and filmmakers have used the symbol to explore themes of surveillance, conspiracy, and spiritual awakening. The symbol's journey from ancient Egypt to modern America reveals something profound about human nature. So the next time you hold a dollar bill, remember, you're not just holding currency. You're holding a piece of American history. The real question is unto whether the Freemasons influenced the dollar bill's design.